our group, we discussed and all agreed into a topic which is the pandemic, since it is a global issue that we are facing. Our title is COVID-19 Pandemic, the impact of new learning setup on college students. We want to discover as COVID-19 brings inevitable calamitous effect to the world, that it changes our lifestyle that we used to, but due to quarantine period, it all changes the way we work, study, and other implementation of our government for us to be safety. We also wanted to know the severe effect on college students on their new learning system. Even though this can help us to cope up in our studies, but how was their conditions experiencing it?
Our title is all about the impact of new learning setup on college students. Amidst on this pandemic we are facing, there are many problems we encounter during these days, especially in learning aspects. There are many changes to learn. Most of the students are using technology as a medium in communicating and learning virtually, while others chose modular. According to Denon in 2020, colleges and students were not prepared on prolonged campus closures. The mandatory from face-to-face to online learning has strengthened the digital divide. This describes the difference between those who can access the internet or has the internet connection and others don't have. It is one major problem that college students nowadays are facing. We are not prepared in this kind of situation, therefore we want to assess the impact of new learning setup on college students and determine how they handle this kind of situation for them to have a better education in times of battling this pandemic.
Pandemic is one of the global issues. It is a problem that has a big impact to the whole world, most especially to the people. Basically, the coronavirus started from one country, which is from Wuhan, China, and it began to spread to different countries. Public health and mental health has become a threat since COVID-19 was announced as an international pandemic. Due to this pandemic, most of the governments around the world decided to have a nationwide lockdown, restricting immigrations and especially avoiding face-to-face classes. And there are millions of students such as primary, secondary, and higher education who are also affected in this kind of situation and adopting their new learning setup. Aside from the Philippines, USA, India, Brazil are still experiencing this kind of issue, and the three countries has 1 million of confirmed cases and 1,000 of deaths.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected educational system worldwide, leading to the near total closures of schools, universities, and colleges. Most governments around the world decided to temporarily close educational institutions in an attempt to reduce the spread of COVID-19. As of 30 September 20, approximately 1.77 billion learners are currently affected due to school closure in response to the pandemic, and absence of mitigation of alternative education strategies is 60%, and struggling to help at-risk learners during crisis 40%. The first human cases of COVID-19, the disease caused by novel coronavirus causing COVID-19, subsequently named SARS-CoV-2, were first reported by officials in Wuhan City, China in December 2019, and because of COVID-19 here in the Philippines, college students experience no face-to-face learning class, and because of COVID-19, they use for their class are cell phones or gadgets called online class.
Coronavirus disease, or COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. This issue has not been erased. It has become more talked about in the news, not only here in the Philippines, but around the world. We conduct this study to find out the opinions in different countries about this issue and to find out how to stop the spread of this virus, which we call COVID-19.
The COVID-19 has spread quickly. Despite of this pandemic, the Commission on Higher Education were taking an action for this just to provide the learners with enough knowledge. The impact of this pandemic to the new learning setup of higher education is adopting the new mode of learning, which is the online learning strategy. Some of the college students are having difficulties in adjusting the new learning setup, especially those students who live in an area that has poor signal. Despite of our situation right now, college students can still manage and cooperate with the new learning setup. To deal with this issue, we should cooperate to the protocols that the government has given so that the virus will not spread and to prevent the situation from getting worse. And we should also learn to adopt and adjust the new normal, especially the students with their new learning setup.
Conclusion. Because of COVID-19, many college students are stuck because of poverty in life and low income that is not enough income for the education of their children.
This research, we find out which of the other country that's still experiencing this kind of virus, including my country, the Philippines. So, my conclusion for this study is to give a reminder to all the people who got infected or not, especially below 21 years old. I just remind all the people that we need to follow the protocols to always wear a mask. But it would be okay if you also wear a face shield. There must be a distance from the people we are talking to, especially when we are outside our home. Make it a habit to wash your hands before eating, and do not forget to always bring alcohol whenever you go. As a student, we need the participation of all the people to follow the rules to at least stop the spread of virus. Staying home saves lives, and we're in this together, and we will get through this together.
In conclusion, coronavirus has rapidly spread its negative effects globally, and it changes our way of living and also when it comes to study. It has been evident that the students must use their technologies, gadgets, and to have an internet for them to cope up in their studies. But we all know that this is just not easy for us since we are also experiencing slow and loss of connections that leads to short-term disruption that might also lose the interest of some students. In this state of dilemma that our government is facing, they are doing their best to have a better access and flow to this kind of implementation, but obviously countries that has the same situation only concerns to our economy, climate, and also for our education. Global health must discuss in this kind of problem to help students struggles and find a better solution. Further research should give more attention to those areas in this kind of phenomenon to be able to optimize the learning habits of students that has different abilities.
To sum it up, as this pandemic occurs, we have encountered different challenges in life, and one of those is the involvement of our education system. The new learning setup that we have has made a big adjustment on the college students. It has a big impact on the students' learning capacity and as well as the digital divide. It has brought a negative effect on the students as there are many hindrances taking up their online classes, like loss of connections, loss of internet, loss of signals, and even in modulars. Yet we are not ready in this kind of situation. There should be an action taken on how to cope up and find better solutions in this problem we are experiencing globally.